Ready?
Yep.
Test day, guys. Welcome back to learning to drive with George. I'm excited now. Yeah, or a bit nervous.
I'm fine.
Yeah, good.
Let's go see how it goes.
That's it.
Okay, I'm ready.
So I just want you to park up, the same between the white car and the silver car, just there. Alright, sure. Do you want to say anything? No? Alright, good
We'll see
luck.
how it goes.
Yeah, that's it. Best of luck, and hopefully we record it. If not, then I'll see you after the test. Okay? Alright, we'll see how he does.
Thank you.
The examiner would have told George to enter the car and get himself ready while the examiner does his checks of the car. Once the examiner enters the car, he explains how the test is going to be conducted. The examiner decides to start the independent driving straight from the test center. The examiner would have asked George one tell me question now. The examiner would have told George to drive on when he's ready. He's asked to turn left at the end of the road. Turn left at the end of the road again. George now continues to follow the sat-nav. George approaches the roundabout really well and gives priority correctly. George keeps a good clearance with the parked cars. George slows down for this speed hump really well, but takes too long to pick up speed. The sat-nav now instructs George to turn left at the roundabout, first exit. George approaches well and makes a good turn into the road. George makes good progress on the road and keeps a good following distance with the car in front. The examiner will now ask George to pull over and park in a safe place. George seems to have parked well. The examiner now would have asked George to drive on when it's safe to do so. When moving off, George seems to get too close to his learner car, and this could be marked down for steering. George once again picks up good speed and deals with the pedestrian on the right safely, and then further up with the meeting situation slows down really well. The examiner would have now asked George to pull over and park on the left, leaving a car's distance of gap with the parked car in front. The reason why the examiners get you to pull over and park, leaving a car's distance of gap and then getting you to drive on again, is to see your steering ability out of tight situations. As you can see, George has really good control and leaves plenty of space with the parked car. George positions really well here, giving him the best possible view up ahead and leaving enough space for the oncoming cars, which have parked cars on their side of the road. George seems to be making good progress and staying within the speed limit. George is now asked to turn left at the roundabout. He approaches well and makes a good turn into the road. George deals with his meeting situation really well by adjusting his speed early so he doesn't have to stop. George shows really good positioning. Further up, George is going to be asked to turn right, third exit at the roundabout, which is into Tesco car park. George approaches the junction really well and gets into the correct lane. He seems to have observed well and entered at the correct time. He moves back to the left at the correct time to take the next exit. George demonstrates really good control and speed for tight situations like this. George continues to keep a really good speed for the car park, knowing that pedestrians could be anywhere and cars could move off anytime. George is now asked to turn into one of the lanes and then asked to forward bay park. Now when you come into a car park, the examiners will ask you to park into any of the bays. This could be on the left or the right, it's down to you to pick a bay. You've just got to ensure that you finish within the lines. George picks a bay on the right and gets to his reference that we've set him. At the looks of it, it looks like George has overshot his reference and seems to be going into the bay on the left as well. However, as he goes into the bay further in, it seems like he's doing okay and he's inside the bay. However, I feel like he's either gone a slightly bit too far forward or he's on the left line. George seems to have completed the maneuver, and the examiner would have asked him to reverse out of the bay in one of the directions and head towards exit. It's important to remember the maneuver has not finished until you've reversed out of the bay, and whilst reversing you must look around for any passing vehicles or pedestrians that could be behind the car. George is now asked to turn right. George sees the vehicle maneuvering up ahead and stops in a really good place to allow them plenty of space. At the roundabout, George is asked to turn right, second exit. He approaches well and shows good control on the roundabout. At the next roundabout, George is asked to turn left, first exit. And again he approaches well and makes a good turn into the new road. He shows good progress and seems to get up to the speed limit of the road. He's asked to carry on straight ahead and shows good positioning to go straight ahead. He responds correctly to the traffic lights. George moves off for good control. And at the next roundabout he's asked to turn left, first exit. George gets into the correct lane to make the turn. George moves off for good control and keeps within his lane. George seems to be making really good progress and getting up to the speed limit of the road. At the next roundabout, he's asked to go straight ahead, second exit. George reduces his speed at a good distance to allow him plenty of time to observe. He enters the roundabout well and shows good lane discipline. And again showing good progress on the road and getting up to the speed limit. At the next roundabout, George is asked to turn left, first exit. George approaches the junction really well and makes a good turn into the new road. George positions really well with the parked cars. And then moves back to the left when it's safe to do so again. He continues to show good positioning on the road. Up ahead with the bus, he reduces speed really well to deal with the tight situation. He continues to show good positioning on the road, keeping a safe distance when passing the parked cars on the left. And then moving back to the left when it's safe to do so. At the next roundabout, George is asked to turn left first exit. He approaches really well, giving him plenty of time to observe. George shows really good progressive braking when slowing down for the traffic lights. At the next roundabout, George is asked to turn right second exit. He approaches well and gets into the correct lane. Now notice when George stops here, no cars are coming from the right, and he doesn't proceed, and this could be marked down as undue hesitation. And now that the traffic is flowing from the right, now he's doing the correct thing of waiting. Now watch this grey car coming from the left. It's making a right turn and blocking the flow of traffic on the right. This could have given George an opportunity to come to a roundabout, but again, George shows undue hesitation. George finally moves off with good control and makes a good turn into the new road. George keeps a good following distance with the car in front. At the next roundabout, he's asked to go straight ahead second exit. He approaches with a good speed and proceeds safely. It seems George is doing well keeping within the 20 mph speed limit. George shows really good progressive braking when slowing down for the traffic lights. George will now be asked to take the next left. He approaches well and makes a good turn into the road. George will now be asked to do his show me question, which will be to wash and clean the front windscreen. George does it correctly and shows good control of the car. You must remember, when asked to do the show me questions, only do it when it's safe to do so, and the examiners will make this very clear. At the next crossroads, George is asked to turn left. George has a good approach to the junction, and you'll see he'll wait patiently for a good opportunity to join the road. He makes a good turn into the road and makes good progress straight away. George is now asked to take the next road on the right. George gets into the filter lane correctly and makes a good turn into the new road. George is now probably asked to pull over and park in a safe place. He comes in with a good speed and makes good use of the space beforehand. And parks well. The examiner would now ask you to move off when it's safe to do so. George seems to move off with good control. He's then asked to take the next road on his left. George shows good normal driving position, and then he's asked to pull over and park again in a safe place. And he comes in with good control and parks well. He will again be told to move off when it's safe to do so. George joins the road with good control, and now he's been asked to turn right at the end of the road. George approaches really well and makes a good turn into the road. George positions well when going around this bend and comes back to the left when it's safe to do so. George is now asked to turn left at the end of the road. He approaches well and turns safely into the new road. He's now asked to turn right at the end of the road. Now George approaches well to this junction, but this black car is turning in front of him and he still proceeds. This could be marked down for observations. He should have waited until the car had cleared his path before he proceeds into the road, as they have priority over him. After entering the new road, George makes good progress on the road. George plans really well with the bus lane, reading the times and going into the bus lane and keeping his normal driving position. George is asked to turn left at the next set of traffic lights. He uses good progressive braking when slowing down for the traffic ahead. George moves off with good control and makes a good turn into the road. At the next roundabout, he's asked to go straight ahead, first exit. He approaches the junction with good speed, allowing him plenty of time to observe, without having the need to stop. George makes good progress and shows good positioning on the road. George is now asked to go straight ahead, first exit the roundabout. George shows really good approach onto the roundabout, making sure he allows himself enough time to observe and look at people's signals to see where they're going and not having to stop on the roundabout. George keeps a good clearance when passing parked vehicles. Now George deals with this meeting situation really well, keeping a good distance with a parked car, so it's nice and easy for him to move off when it's clear to do so. George seems to be making good progress on the road within the speed limit. At the next roundabout, he's asked to go straight ahead, second exit. Again, really good speed and approach, allowing him plenty of time to observe. George is now asked to take the next road on the right. George makes a good turn into the road. George is now asked to turn right, which is back into the test centre car park. And he makes a good turn into the road. The examiner now would have asked George to forward bay park into one of the bays. Now it doesn't matter if you're outside of the bay, as this is not going to be counted towards the test, as he's already done a manoeuvre outside. However, you still need to be able to park safely. George safely turns into a bay with really good control and finishes within the lines. The examiner would have asked George to now secure the car and turn off the engine, and this brings the test to an end. The examiner will now do a debrief and give you the result of the test, but before doing so they will ask you if you want your instructor to listen in for the feedback. George agreed for me to listen to the feedback.
Okay, so George has just come back from his test. Unfortunately, he occurred a serious mistake, which is really annoying. But let's just talk about what the fault was. So he said it was forward bay parking, right? Okay, so we done forward bay parking and said as you were starting to reverse back out,
Blocked the lane of traffic or something.
did you see it? Was there cars there?
But if there was, I don't know.
There wasn't cars there.
I don't know.
Okay, so he said you was looking to your right. When you reverse back, you weren't looking to your left, and then you've blocked people there on your left. Now I wasn't there, so I'm not sure. But usually they would, if for example, if you reverse back just a little bit and there's nothing there, it's just a minor for control. But he said some cars were there, and we've blocked the flow of traffic.
Block the traffic lane, yeah.
Yeah, so you blocked the flow of traffic, and then that's why it was a serious mistake. It's the fact that you didn't pick up on it, that there was cars there. But other than that, that was the only serious mistake, and you've got 7 other minors.
Better than the mock test.
Yeah, better than your mock test. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. Okay, we can always go again. Let's just have a quick look at the sheet. So we'll show the minors. So moving off safely. This is basically not looking around properly before moving off, or when you're in traffic, not looking around. Signals timed. You did your signal either too early or too late. Your steering, you got a minor for that as well. You probably got too close to something, or just lost a little bit of control of your steering. Appropriate speed, going a bit slow. Let's put that back up here. Okay, the camera fell, but it's back up. Undue hesitation, just somewhere where you could have gone and you didn't, and your observations at junctions, not looking around well enough. Okay, we're gonna book it again. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna book it again. Look for some cancellations. Find a date that's in the next 2 weeks. So you can't do your test for the next 10 working days. You have to wait that minimum period. During that time, we'll probably do a lesson or two just to keep the progress up,
Yeah.
and then going for another test again.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Okay. But don't dwell on it too much. We will go over that maneuver, making sure we can just improve our observations. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
I'll keep this.
Yeah, that's for your own record.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Should be fine for next time.
Was he talkative?
No.
No? You just got on with the test? What was the test route?
It was lots of similar roads we've done. We did the 3-lane roundabouts, but it was only left turns, which was good.
Oh yeah?
Nice, easy left turn. It was all roads we'd done before, really.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realise that was the fault. I thought I messed up the manoeuvre. I thought I was over the line when I did the
Yeah.
forward park, and then I think I got in a bit of a strop because I thought I was like, and that's why I must have messed up because I wasn't thinking straight when I was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought I'd already messed up.
Well, you had gone over.
But
But that's not a foul, that.
is it?
No.
I thought it was.
What, if you go over the line?
Yeah.
But you hadn't finished the manoeuvre then?
No, I had,
Oh, you put the handbrake
Yeah.
on? Ah.
but that wasn't it apparently. Maybe
No.
I must have been on the line or something.
Yeah, so did he open his door?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so...
I don't know if he opened his door or not.
Well, he marked you down as a minor for control as well on that same manoeuvre. He marked you down as a minor for that, and then he gave you the serious mistake for your observations. So probably it's because you didn't look, you got into that strop like you said, and then when you reversed back, you just didn't look around well enough, and you probably missed a car that was coming from your left, and you're blocking that lane of traffic and obstructing the road. But that's why we always say just don't give up all the way up until the end. Even because sometimes it's usually when we think about a mistake or get into that little kind of mindset of I failed, you end up making a serious mistake straight after.
It was a good drive, apart from
Yeah, it was.
apart from that.
Like you said, it was really good. It was just that one thing on the manoeuvre, which was really annoying because it's
So I
not
think-
even your driving's not bad.
We should definitely practice
Some more manoeuvres.
forward. More forward. The thing is, I came in here and I actually parked quite decent.
It's parked perfectly.
And he said, "Don't even worry about
Yeah.
it."
Because remember what I said to you, if you'd already done a manoeuvre outside, it's not going to be included in your test. It's not the end of the world. We're going to do another test. I'm sure you'll pass the next time. And yeah, this happens. Okay?
So what should I do? Should I look for test dates?
Yeah, so book your test and then look for test dates on your own. If you can't find any dates, send me your details and we'll find your date.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Alright, no worries, okay? Have a good day at school, don't worry about this too much. And we'll just go then.
We'll get there eventually.
That's it. Alright guys, we'll catch you next time.